almost buy into this face yoga thing because I was like, I've got a little bit of a waddle come in, which is natural for my age and everything. And I'm not trying to, I'm not accepting it. But then there's all this face yoga going on. And now there's an app for face yoga, and there's books just specifically on face yoga. And my worry is because of my mindset from when I was a lot younger, and also now, I'm the type of person that if I start doing something like this and wanting to change the structure of my face, because this is what it does, I'm wanting to change this. This was the initial thought, like, oh, maybe I can change this little waddle in my neck thing and this little bit of crepey skin that's come in. And if I start doing the face yoga, but then I was like, no, because my mindset is the type that would become obsessed with it and then I'd start doing it too many times. And then if I didn't get any results, I'd go into like a slump of why isn't it happening? Then I'd become obsessed with it and I'd start doing it even more. And then what would happen? It would be all I could think about and it would be all consuming. And that's how my mind works. And I'm not saying everybody's mind works like that, but because I have a history of BDD and an eating disorder, the core behaviors don't always shift away. For someone with my kind of mindset, it's a recipe for disaster. And I know that this new thing that's come out for boys wanting men and women wanting a more defined jawline. So you put this thing in your mouth and you do that so many times a day. And again, it's fine if you don't have that type of mindset, but what you've got to ask yourself is, what are you trying to get out of this in the first place? And is that a realistic goal? And also, when you stop doing these exercises, like any exercise, your face is probably going to go back to how it was before. And then what? How are you going to feel then? So I've gone on a massive rant there, but does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And I fell for it too. So I didn't buy the book and I haven't joined the app, but I YouTubed and I was doing it every morning. So every morning I was doing these funny exercises and slapping my face and
Sorry, it's
like this and
yeah.
all of this. And I did it probably for about, I would say, 4 months.
Yeah, so that's a good chunk.
And every morning,
Mm.
while I was brushing my teeth. And for me, I don't think I became obsessed with it. And I don't have this history that you have, Olivia, of body dysmorphia. I've got some self-loathing and some problems with my body image, but I never have been that far down the track, I suppose. So I don't have those behaviours as deeply ingrained in me, I suppose, as you do. And eventually I got to the stage where I was like, can't see any difference. And I'm doing all this stuff and I can't see any difference. So I stopped doing it. And that's fine for me. But I would agree with you about is that every morning I was intently studying my face and like, where are the changes? And I can see how people who have got more serious issues with body image could go down quite a slippery slope.
Yeah.
So yeah, that does resonate with me. I was able to go.
Yeah, and this is the thing, as an adult, well, not saying all adults, but some adults are able to reason with themselves, like, well, it's either working or it's not working, and then not do it excessively or leave it or whatever. But a teenager, they don't have as much resilience regulating their emotions as what we do. I don't know, what do you think, Jenny?
I agree with you. Personally, also have looked at face yoga and every morning look at, the decline that's occurring, the slide off the front of my face, which my face is, age and gravity taking place. I kind of, when you started talking about it, I really appreciate how the obsessive part of BDD can do that. And there was a little part of me that thought, God, I wish I could be that committed. I wish, I just wish that if there was something that worked like that, You know, if it really helped, wouldn't it be fabulous if I could actually do it and consistently? Because I don't think I could. I think that I've got too much going on in the outside world that, you know, so I might be feeling a bit like, oh, look at that, look at that. But essentially it's like, well, just get on with the day. But I think going back to your point about how it would affect young people particularly, yeah, I think it could be really significant. And two things came to mind. One was, what impact does it do on the structure of your jaw? Not, you know, the muscle and the tone, but if you're, I didn't know there was a thing that you bite down on. If you're doing hundreds, or if you have body dysmorphia, thousands and thousands of reps a day, then potentially you could cause huge structural issues, just wear and tear on the jaw, which I would imagine would be almost irrevocable without surgery. And then you have a whole other load of problems. And then the other thing to say,
what dentists would say about that as well.
Wouldn't it? Wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Because of the teeth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
If there's any dentists listening, we'd love to know your comments on this, because it's very, it's interesting. I find it very interesting. Sorry, Jenny, carry on.
Yeah, but I was just going on to say about any intervention, whether it's applying cosmetics, whether it's sort of extensive cleansing routines, right up to proper full-blown cosmetic procedures. I missed out the whole sort of aesthetic treatments there, lasers, sort of less intervention things, processes that people have done. Any of those are massively risky for people who have already got a tendency towards body dysmorphia, because even if it goes well, this is the tragedy, even if the surgery or the intervention goes well, it tends to cause a hyperfocus in a negative way.
Yeah. You are exactly right, because I speak from experience, and this is something I don't tell anybody. I've gone down some of those routes myself back in the day, and I think my first one was having a breast lift, because at the time I'd lost quite a lot of weight, and I had a bit of crepey skin on my boobs, and all I could have done was just put some goddamn weight on. But in my mind, that never even entered my head back then. I was like, what can I do about my crepey boobs? So I thought, oh, I'll have some surgery. You know, like it was just a normal thing to do. So, you know, no sooner did I think about that, I went and did it, because I'm very impulsive. So I don't know if that's part of my ADHD or what, but yeah, I went and did it. And what happened was I had the breast lift, and now I had scars all over my breast, and I still had crepey skin. Didn't alter the crepey skin whatsoever. So then I became really obsessed. I mean, I was already obsessed with it anyway, because when you have the surgery, you don't just have the surgery. You've given the obsession a lot of thought. So I was looking at my boobs every day, every angle, thinking, how can my partner at the time possibly like me like this? And, you know, when we make love, how can he enjoy these crepey boobs? I look like a 90-year-old, and, you know, this was my internal dialogue. So when I went to have surgery, the accumulation of all of those thoughts, it was, you know, it's gone on for a long time. The surgery is just the end result. I had the surgery, it didn't work. And then literally the obsessive thoughts came back. And then I was like, right, I'll have breast implants put in. That's the answer. Went and had breast implants put in, and unfortunately one of the implants was above the muscle and one was below the muscle. And the reason they did that, they never told me this at first, and it was only through me actually getting a solicitor involved that they admitted that they put one above the muscle, one below, because during surgery one of my muscles snapped, or it came undone, and they couldn't put one under the muscle, so they had to put it above, thinking it's not going to make any difference. So what they did then is they altered the size of my boobs to try and make it look the same. So you could call that a bodge up job. It's fine. And I came out of surgery, and obviously the bandages are on, you can't look at them. And I was really excited to see, you know, is this crepey skin going to go? And the crepey skin went, but then I had a new problem, which was I had completely different shaped boobs. One looked like a teardrop and one looked like an upside down teardrop. That's the only way I can describe it. And that sent me into more of a frenzy. So this relationship I had with my boobs from day one, literally from, you know, from developing boobs, I've always had a difficult relationship with them, to then everything manifesting up to now having, you know, lopsided boobs, which are very evident without a bra. And it took me a real lot to decide whether I wanted lopsided boobs without the crepey skin, or crepey skin without the lopsided boobs if I had the implants taken out. And I went for the lopsided boobs with the crepey skin, which felt like a better option at the time. And I lived with that for quite a while, but it did create a new set of problems for me. And then it was my years later, we're talking a long time later, it was my birthday, and I was sat in the bath in the evening, and I just thought, do you know what? I've healed so much now from all of this that I think I'm gonna take my crepey skin and I'm gonna live with that. I'm gonna get these implants out. And, you know, again, it was a thought, and then it happened. The next thing I knew, I was on the theatre table having these things taken out, and the crepey skin came back, but it wasn't as crepey as it was before, because by now I'd put a lot more weight on because I was a more healthy person, etc., because I didn't have the eating disorder. So yeah, it's been a journey. What I want to say, the reason I said all of that in response to what you said, Jenny, is because when you are fixated on one thing, the surgery doesn't mean that you're going to stop fixating on it. The surgery just means that it brings a new insight or a new focus or a new problem or a new this or a new that. And even if it goes really well, if you have that kind of mindset where you feel like every inch of you needs to look perfect, or at least in your eyes acceptable for people, which it does, but in your eyes, if it doesn't, then what will happen is, regardless of if you have the surgery or not, if you have the surgery, the mind will just say, right, we'll focus on a new area now, and it never goes away. So the more you feed, the more it grows. And I learned